Get ready for another edition of the Outstanding Shift podcast with your host, Andrew Evans from Rossby Financial. I'm your producer, RJ Malik. Andrew, hello, and how are you today?
Oh, absolutely fantastic. Always great to see you, RJ.
Excellent, excellent. And I am looking forward to another great podcast. So why don't you tell us what you have lined up and introduce your guest?
Well, thank you. So this go around, very, very happy to have on the show today, Melissa Reaktenwalt. Melissa is full and fair disclosure. She's an advisor, part of our RIA. She is a friend and probably one of the best human beings that I know. Then that's not just flattery. You truly are one of the best human beings that I know of. And you're an accomplished writer, a speaker. You run a wonderful practice, and just an all around good human, as I said before. So Melissa, welcome to the Outstanding Shift, where we want to find all kinds of wonderful nuggets of how we can all become just outstanding in our lives and our practices, and what we could do. We want to dig in and find that road less traveled. What is it that makes it awesome? But that aside, Melissa, tell us other than that intro, tell us a little bit about you and what's happening.
Thanks, Andrew. I am happy to be here. I will do my best to live up to the best human comment. So we'll see how that goes. I appreciate that. I have been in financial services and an advisor for about 20 years. And I tell most folks that I've had quite a meandering career. It's gone up and down and sideways and all over the place. But it has led to just a really beautiful firm and a really beautiful practice that I am really grateful for. Currently, we're in kind of a growth mode, which has been sort of my jam for the last handful of years. So we're staffing up and we are, bringing in new clients and new business. And so it's a busy time for us. But overall, it's one of those things that's where I thrive. So I'm happy to be here.
Mm-hmm. Well, we're gonna have a chat about your overall attitude, which is just superior. The way you handle things is just fantastic. Your overall attitude and how you reach your Zen, but certainly if I could say like a passion of yours, just what you speak on at industry events and non-industry events. Diversity, inclusion, and so forth for the industry and really across all business. And I'll ask you this question for our industry, Melissa. Why are we so bad at it? Like, that sounds terrible. Like I know that these companies have. Like they have their like groups that do it, or they have their whatever they call their committees to do these things. But like it all just seems like they're just doing it, but they're like not really doing anything. And maybe that's just me being the dumb white guy in the room, which I will absolutely admit. Like that's fine. But I'd have to say, like, I'd like to see more. Like, I'm a supporter of it. So why are we getting it wrong, or what can we do better? Like, what's going on?
I think it's a really tough question, and it's also one that's really important. Like, it is so challenging to look. Well, let me start from where I'm at, which is in it, and I've been in it again for a couple of decades now, and still, there are fewer and fewer folks who look like me, who have a background like me, who are doing some of this work directly with clients as firm owners. It's just not there. And I don't know off the top of my head what the statistics are about, diversity in financial services currently. I do know that over the last 5 years or so, there has been a pretty big push, and I was part of some of that pushing to move some of those committees and some of those what I will call initiatives forward in some of these organizations in financial services, because I think a lot of people have the same initial awareness that it's not there. And by it not being there, I mean brown folks, women, people who have just a different background than your not bad white guy, but just your white guy kind of trope of a financial advisor and firm owner.
Yeah.
Those folks who are othered in that position, still not making up a huge portion of financial services. And while I think a lot of people can walk into a conference or look at a website and say, oh, yeah, it's still not there, has been a little bit of movement towards that direction. But I think a lot of that has been just awareness. It's just recognition, which is fascinating for someone who's been in it for some time of like, yeah, hello, like, where have you been? But also, I understand we all have to get there at some point. So I think what the challenge has been is getting past that awareness, like just seeing the issue, like DE&I is a thing. We need more diverse teams. We need more diverse advisors to serve a more diverse population. All of these things make logical sense. We can see that these things are not truly happening right now, especially in financial services. And I think it's just been really difficult for the powers that be, however you want to look at that. It's been really difficult for those to move things forward. And I think that's been because more than awareness, there's actually action that has to come from that. It can't be performative. It can't be like, oh, there was a big trend in news, and so we started a committee. And so to make it seem like we were inclusive or we were doing the things or we were doing the work. And then it just puttered out into nothing.
But I feel like that's all it's really been. It's just been that. It's, oh, look at what we did. Isn't that nice?
Yeah.
And what's crazy though, but like we've seen it that I feel like we've seen more the blend is better on in other industries. There's more of a blend, and you see more of the blend. I'm just using that as like a general term. And you see it more in like more financial management, like at firms. And then we'll say for those listening in the wholesaler space, in the investment management space, in the news space. But here on the retail side, not so much. And I think that to me, I'm always like, it's just odd that we have it, we're getting it everywhere except for here.
Well, I think some of that may also have to do with the fact that like our industry just generally has been the movement that's taken place in those sorts of initiatives. You're right. I think it's been that sort of performative, again, that recognition level of work. And then that's happened more on the sort of staffing side, the operations side, the leadership side. I can see that outside of advisors. I think you're right, a little bit. I think that's ticked up in the last couple of years, definitely more so than the advisor side. But I also think that for advisors, it's challenging if we're still focused on some of the old systems, processes, structures of firms and structures of support that advisors can have. That's not going to work for, kind of really attracting other folks. So I think that may be part of it too. There's been some work on the other side of the line, and then on kind of the retail and like on the ground side of the line, not so much. And I'm not exactly sure what that disconnect would be.
Well, would you then count that up to more of a it more falls down, which we've talked about before, more of a generational problem, and it's more like we said, like, okay, it's time for this certain generation of advisors. It's time for you to it's time to go away.
Yeah.
Okay, we're not saying you don't have to go home, but can you just start to kind of evaporate? Let's move on from that. Time to move on from that.
Yeah.
So if we're going to move on from that, and you're talking about like systems and changes, so what are some things that you're thinking of? Because the people want to know. Like let's dig into that. Like, what do you think?
Absolutely. So
Because
I
I'm
think
into
that,
change. I love it.
yes, for sure. And I love it to a certain extent. Usually when it doesn't stress me out, which is next to never. So like that's great for me. But yeah, change is needed on that front. And for some of the advisors who have built a beautiful firm and a beautiful career over the course of the last more than 2 decades, that are considering retirement or have been for, I don't know, the last 10 years or so. Yeah, it's challenging to bring new folks in when those are the sometimes biggest and loudest firms that are kind of leading the charge. And well, I think a lot of smaller firms also look to some bigger firms like that, or some older, what I call legacy or OG firms.
Sure.
In that side of the line, smaller firms can look to those firms and say, okay, well, what are you doing? What have you done to grow? That's not the same thing that is happening for younger firms. And for
Right.
younger advisors are needed for those younger firms to then grow and do what they're going to do. So to look to the OGs for some of that guidance, it's just not there. And I think for as long as the OGs are hanging out in those positions and in those seats, just keeping them warm and keeping those clients,
Yeah.
I don't know, hanging out, then there's going to be, I think, this barrier to entry for some other advisors, not just from like new advisors coming into the space, but also for advisors like me who are in that position to be like, hey, like we're also looking to grow and we're also in a position to take on some of these things and, talk about some of these things, in having that transition for the OGs take place a little bit sooner and a little bit more streamlined. I think there's a lot of stuckness in the OG space, and that makes it really hard to change and to force some of those things that would allow for a more diverse financial services landscape. So yeah, I don't know if that's kind of what you wanted to dig into, but
yeah. I think we've ran into I know I've done it, with the the hundreds of advisors that I've talked to, and
yeah,
you always run into those, the rounding error that always says, "Oh, I'm totally open to constructive criticism or feedback," and then when you actually give it to them, they don't want to hear it.
yeah,
Like those are like the worst. It's like, well, but you wanted. Wait, you're at a position of influence where you could positively impact, let's say, your practice of, say, your ensemble practice, or let's say influence an entire firm.
mhm,
Okay, and we, a younger generation, can give you constructive feedback to help influence and grow and drive forward. And you sit back and you cross your arms and say, no, yeah, that's not going to do it.
yeah,
But then you say, but I'm totally open to changing it. I want to see things go and move forward. But if you say no, that's not how it's going to be. Well, guess what happens? Everybody goes elsewhere, and then other things happen, and a new firm is created that does those things. And uh, Daniel Plainfield, or Daniel Day-Lewis and There Will Be Blood, then they drink your milkshake. That's what happens. They run that straw. They drink your milkshake. That's what happens if you don't do those things. So hopefully we're trying to get those things done at your firm and our firm, our collective firms. Let's just drink their milkshake. Let's do what we could do.
Yeah.
It's like, fine, you don't want to do it. You don't want to do it. You don't want to advance. You don't want to try to change your legacy systems, mindsets. You don't want to do it? Fine, don't. That's fine. Don't do it. Don't want to do it? Fine. We'll just do it anyway. We'll do it over here, and we'll see you some other time in the future. It's okay. So that's my diatribe on that. It's like, fine, don't do it.
Yep. We'll do it.
Okay. Well, it calls to mind the idea of the bringing in youth, Melissa. Bringing in youth. Okay. So if you want to really build a diverse set of candidates, right?
Mm.
Your thought, because I think people usually think, oh, you know how I'm going to get a good advisor, that the unicorn shows up.
Mm-hmm.
They just show up, right?
Right.
Okay, that's all I do. I just go onto LinkedIn and I just say, advisor with everything I need, come hither, and they show up. Okay,
Mm.
so all right, so that doesn't work. What are some ideas that you have? Let's say I want to cultivate some youth, some talent. I want to get some bench strength, as it were, in these areas. What are you thinking?
Yeah.
What are you thinking on that?
I think it has to go beyond sort of your traditional and sort of conventional, just like, okay, post it on the website if you have a website, which I hope you do, but post it on the website, put it on LinkedIn, put it on Indeed, and like cross your fingers. That's certainly a way to do that. And I think that in addition to that, it requires being open and actually being open. So not the open that we just talked about and like, oh yeah, tell me what this is, and then I'm not going to do that. But I mean, actually being open. I've been really fortunate, at least in my hiring, to just be aware of the people who are around me, even if they're not a younger advisor or interested in financial services or even looking to like partner with me or anything like that. I've always been open to what a connection with a human might mean for the business, for the firm, for those types of things. When I focus on that, just like the human aspect of it, as opposed to sort of this short list of qualifications and, kind of these, again, sort of more conventional metrics that we're using to find talent. I think it is important to marry those two, but that you really have to focus on like, where am I going to find the people that will fit well with my firm, but also with my clients? For me, and kind of what I've done for growing that, still a really small firm and like certainly not as much experience as a lot of other advisors out there on the hiring front, but it has truly come down to simply being open to different solutions to staffing. And it's finding younger folks, I think also really has to do with what you're putting out into the universe, right? So if you have clunky anything, it's going to be a detriment to getting new folks in. If you have a technical issue getting on a Zoom interview, like that's going to be a detriment to getting new folks in. So I think it's a combination of these things. You need to be open to, at least for me, I've been open to having some different folks coming into the firm and doing different work as it makes sense for them and it makes sense for the firm. But then also, right, just being open to other things, and kind of a younger crowd, I think, comes from that. But you have to cater to who you want in the firm. If you want younger energy, your firm's got to give that off a little bit, at least, or be open to moving in that direction, I think.
So, well, as the kids say, you have to have the riz.
Yeah,
is that what the kids say?
Is that what they're saying?
So
I don't
that's
actually
what they say. I'm not allowed to say that. I was already told by my 14-year-old that I'm not allowed to say that. But
probably good advice.
Yeah, no, it's fine by me. Like I don't care, but as long as I get to say it once, like that's totally fine.
You did it.
Yeah, there we go. I did it. And so I'll make her listen to this, and then she'll give me the look. She'll be like, "Ugh," which is fine. It's fine. She doesn't like me anyway. No, she loves me. It's great. But yeah, so I guess I'll take it that you're not in. Well, I shouldn't assume, because remember, we shouldn't assume. But you might not agree with one Jamie Dimon that everybody has to be in the office to do their work all the time. You'd probably not. Now, mind you, Jamie Dimon does what Jamie Dimon does. You do what you do. But okay,
yes,
just that.
Yes,
okay.
That's the other part of it, is that I went from, as I sit in this lovely office that's very quiet because it's just me, and my entire team works from literally across the country. Like we're here, we're Middle America, and we're on the West Coast, and it is it's such a nice existence, and I would not have been able to find the folks that I needed or wanted in the firm, and that were the best fit for my clients if I wasn't open to that to begin with. So it's been a really nice door opener for getting in some new talent.
Excellent. So you said before about sometimes change gets you a little nervous, but
Yes.
okay. And I'm not very changeable, I don't think. I mean, I might talk a big game. I don't change much. But that being said, and the things that you deal with your firm being remote, where you are, the size of the practice that you run, you do run a core financial planning first business.
Yep.
Right.
Yes.
Well, what are you as Melissa the human? Because we all know you're a brilliant planner and business owner, but you as the human, what do you do to maintain your calm and your zen? Like, what do you do? What are you doing?
Yeah. Lots of rage running these days. So we're going to go for a run. We're going to put in some very loud music and just, so that's been great.
Just all 9 Inch Nails is just blasting in your
9 hands. Let's go. Yeah.
You listen to Henry Rollins and Black Flag, and I'm just going to run through here.
Go.
Yes. Go.
Yes.
Okay.
Goodness. So that's one thing that takes up a little bit of my time. But aside from that, with no rage involved, honestly, it's a lot of not working. I used to be the complete opposite of that, which is I'm going to throw myself into work because the more I'm controlling the things and have visibility into the things, then the less anxiety I have and the more there is zen. Funny enough, that's not true, at least not for me. And so
right.
taking some time to kind of get on the other side of that. And I'm certainly not. There are days, and you know this because I've sometimes reached out to you on those days where it doesn't feel like that. It doesn't feel slow and steady. There is no zen to be found.
I would like to hilariously share just yesterday, you sent me a message that you have a new hire. And you gave me information, and I said, yes, we'll take care of it. And I asked for their email address, which you actually gave me in the message that you sent me. I was like, no, you gave that to me. Why would I ask for that? You gave that to me. Yeah, sometimes those things happen.
They do.
Sometimes they happen.
They remind me that Zen exists in the world. Maybe not in those moments, but certainly.
Like I even read it. Like I'm looking at it. It's like I read it.
Like, oh, there it is.
Yeah. It's like, it's like sometimes you read something like 5 times and like, I don't know what this says.
Yeah.
I don't know.
Yeah. But
that's why you have Aaron.
It's that. Exactly. This is why I have a great team. That's a big part of it. I'll tell you, I am able to get out of the weeds and get out of my own brain and my own way a lot of the time because I have a really good team. And I trust them. It's not, yes, it is about finding good talent, but it's also about like, okay, we're all in this together. They understand the mission. They understand what we're doing. We have really great systems and processes so that they can just plug in and do the thing. And I can unplug, which is part of what keeps this machine moving, is that ability for me to just say, no, thank you. I cannot do this for just one day. And so I need to be able to step back. Having the right team and the supported team and the good humans that are behind the scenes, it really allows me to do that. And then I'm either rage running or I'm listening to tunes or somewhere by the water where I can just, not be thinking or hearing anything other than pretty sounds and maybe some music. So that's it.
Sure. Okay, this is complete non sequitur. What's a great restaurant that you're going to now in the DC area? Because everybody will figure out that EViE Financial, you're in the DC area.
Yes, I am in the DC area, hence the rage running. So best, oh gosh, there are 2. I don't want to say the first one, but I'm going to say the first one. It's not well known, but it's got beautiful views of the Potomac. If those exist, they kind of do. But it's called Jula's on the Potomac. It's in Old Town Alexandria. Stunning. Food's great. Brunch is outstanding. Service is good. All the good stuff. And then the Majestic is also a really great, just kind of like neighborhood spot. Also on the Virginia side of life, but it's a kind of old timey, like feels like a dive bar meets a speakeasy kind of thing.
Ooh, okay.
And the food is great, so it's
Okay.
good stuff.
Good. So again, non sequitur into the Zen.
It's all good. Totally fine. These are the Zen things, though. Like, as I'm now thinking about that, I'm like, oh, that sounds nice for dinner. Yeah. Anyway, but those are good things. Yeah.
Doesn't it? I think we're going out for fish and chips tonight at a place called
great.
Archie's.
Perfect.
Because that's what we do. Because as you know, we're down to one kid in the house because our son is now in university, and our daughter was able to fill all available space that he left, which I don't understand how that happened, but there
Magic.
You go. Speaking of that, bringing it back around, quick side story. We were having a discussion on video, and my daughter came. Oh, she came home. I was working from home, and her friend was over, and I was like, "Wait, come here and meet Melissa via video," because it just clicked in my head. I was like, "Wait, this connection needs to happen because her friend looks like you."
Yes.
Okay. I however you want to play that, I hope that's not in the wrong tone, but I think for the tone of this is like that. So her friend, they're both 14, but she needs to see you in your position as a successful business owner, female, woman of color, business owner, doing what you're doing, all boss, everything like that, living your best life, so that she can see that to say that she can do that, specifically that, or other things like that. Not that she is relegated to one thing or the other because somebody is doing something that. So I think that's another thing that also needs to be happening, as we just really spun it right back to the topic, is like,
but
that's something else that has to keep happening.
It's so very true. And I think it's for a couple of years from some of my other advisor friends, I got a little bit of not heat, but maybe a little bit of poking fun at I was all over the place. You know this too. I was just bouncing around different conferences, different things like for the last couple of years. That's kind of been my existence. A lot of that has been like my marketing plan. But it's also been the actual boots on the ground for and this sounds a little bit arrogant, but that is not where that is coming from. It's not where this is coming from in any way, shape, or form. But I put myself out there specifically for that reason. That representation is the thing. That's when I walked into my first conference, which was now 15 years ago. When I did that, I was shocked that it did not exist. It was a sea of pale and male, and that was a lot for me. And so that, I think, ingrained in me that I'm going to do what I can, not only to build a firm that serves people who look like me, but to build a firm that we are internally serving people who look like me, meaning bringing on advisors or mentoring advisors or coaching advisors that want to do this work on an independent level, that look like this and just want to go out there and do the thing. Me being out there and running around and, just kind of being outside, as some of my other advisor friends said, that was mostly intentional. It was also a lot of fun, but it was mostly intentional. Here's my face, and yes, it's on this podcast, and yes, it's at this conference, and yes, I'm speaking on this stage, and people need to see that. And I think that I remember it wasn't that long ago when we had that interaction, but it was such a moment of she looks just like me. We look the same. That's okay to say. My hair was up. We had little curls in the front.
Yeah,
and she had the
glasses.
Same thing.
Yes. The thing.
It was almost eerie, but that is such a powerful thing. And that is where, at least for me, that's where the work happens, right? It's here it is. If you can see it, you can do it. And that is such a cliche thing, but it's also so true. So I appreciate that, by the way.
Yeah. It's how can we get more moments of that with that younger generation.
Yeah.
It's like that's where all of us can win. Go back down to that level.
Yeah.
Like I'd even say like for me, like I have a hard time with these discussions because I have a hard time or understanding why we have a hard time with this, because I grew up in a single mother house, single parent, just my mom household, but it was a 100%, matriarchy family. It's mostly women.
Yeah.
I mean, my goodness, as I've mentioned probably on LinkedIn, like my sister, she recently got her law degree in her late 40s, went back to law school because she just said, I think I'm smarter than the lawyers at my company that I work for. Not that aggressive. So if they're listening to this, she's very, very nice. But she's like, no, I could do this because she's that mentally strong. She's like, no, I'm going to go do it. So she did it. Right. My cousin is a former member of the House of Representatives of the state of Florida. Like so it's like, it's hard for me to like understand, like, why wouldn't we like, so hopefully now I'm stuttering to say, like, that's why I have a hard time understanding why anybody doesn't understand this. Like,
I know.
just, come on, everybody, get with it. Which has been our theme at Rossby for 2025, which is get with it. Like, come on, get with it. Like,
let's go.
We're in the future, people. Like, I'm not faxing anything to anyone.
Right. Can we stop with the fax request?
And still some people have asked me to fax things. Like, I can't do that from here in 2025.
Right. It doesn't exist.
Right. Well, Melissa, we are at, we're just over 30 minutes here. So we're going to be wrapping it up. But I tell you what, let me give you the last word here. And we talked a lot about other things. We had a whole lot of fun. We should definitely do this again sometime. And how about this? Last thoughts on practical things somebody could do to bring in some new talent, invigorate the firm, truly new young talent, and a good sense of Zen for them to take with them after they listen to this.
Yeah. I think on the talent side, it truly is like, I would encourage folks who are on that journey right now to just stay open to the possibilities. The other interesting thing that I think is happening, at least specifically here in the DMV, DC area, is that there's a lot of candidates. For better or worse, there's lots of folks looking for new things, and a lot of those fall within a younger generation. And so now one is a good time to do that if you're open to looking for some other folks. So I think that's one thing. And then on the Zen side of the line, I think it's maybe the same thing. Just staying open in your own life. Like, okay, there's a lot of change that's happening. There's a lot of what feels like chaos and just a bunch of stuff that's going on in the universe, and specifically in financial services. Good grief. And I think it's staying open. Yeah, just a couple of things. But I think it's staying open to what the possibilities are. What does this look like a year from now, 5 years from now? Like, what does the growing firm mean in financial services and wealth management and financial planning? I think it's a lot of stuff to kind of take in, and it's difficult to make any lasting changes or have an impact in any of those spaces without that openness. So that's what I'll say for today.
Wonderful.
Excellent. Melissa, before you go, how about contact information?
Sure. Easy. I'm most easily found on LinkedIn. I'm the only one, Melissa Reaktenwalt. All you need is the first 4, REAK, and you'll be able to find me. You can also find us on the website. It's EViE Financial, EViE as in Victor, IEfinancial.com. And those are the easiest ways to get in touch. There's contact forms on both. So easy.
Excellent. Andrew, your contact information?
Hey, give me a call, 321-209-0157. Drop me an email, aevans@rossbyfinancial.com.
Awesome. Thank you. And most importantly, thank you for listening to the Outstanding Shift podcast. If you've not subscribed to the podcast, please click the subscribe button below. This way, when the team comes out with a new podcast, it will show up directly on your listening device. And we humbly ask you to share this podcast, rate it, and leave a review, because this actually helps others find the show. Again, thank you for listening. And for Andrew and Melissa, I'm RJ Malik, and we look forward to you joining us for our next podcast.
Thank you for listening to The Outstanding Shift. Don't forget to hit the follow button to be notified when new episodes become available. Visit our websites at www.ouroffice.team, www.rossbyfinancial.com, or give us a call at 321-209-0111. The information provided in this video is for informational purposes only and does not constitute investment advice or a recommendation to buy or sell any security. Investing involves risk, including the potential loss of principal. Past performance is not indicative of future results. You should consult a qualified financial professional before making any investment decisions.